Hello and welcome to Taking Stock. This is the show where we prepare you for the trading week ahead. And this edition of Taking Stock, as you can see, comes to you from a very cheerful atmosphere. This is the cafeteria of Prabhudas Leeladhar. This is the brokerage which is now being recognized as one of the top 100 brands in the country. And their leading lights, Amisha and Dilip, who are with me, lead a PMS product which actually has returned 40 to 50% returns over the last 2 or 3 years at a time when the Nifty could return perhaps 15% or thereabouts. Even in the last 1 year when there were negative returns, this fund has managed to post positive returns. So we are going to prepare you for the next week very well and for the year ahead. But for the moment, Amisha, Dilip, before I come to you, just a word on where the markets are stuck. This week the Sensex and the Nifty have ended about 0.7% lower, but you will have to say that the range that we are tackling is basically 7,700 to 7,900. You will have to say that the market has been able to bear the downside very well. There have been a couple of shocks. You had the P-note rules that were announced by SEBI. You had the Mauritius Treaty which hinted that capital gains are going to be taxed from these countries. All these could have been negative news for the markets, but the market braved them extremely well. Even from the global markets, the hint that the Federal Reserve still keeps the rate hike in June alive on the table was taken with some equanimity by not just global markets, but more importantly by Indian markets as well. So there is a lot to say for the protection of the downside. But for the upside, the markets have not been able to pierce that 7,950 mark and has bounced down from it several times. So that makes it a very formidable resistance. We got the Bank Nifty punished rather badly, I think 1.2% lower, but specifically stocks like Bank of Baroda, State Bank have taken it on the chin, especially after Bank of Baroda's numbers. So there is a goodish bit of negative news as well that the markets have had to contend. Actually, CLSA's Lawrence Belanco speaks of potential downsides for the US and the European markets as well in June, July. So there could be headwinds, especially if the rate hike fears from the Fed became very real. That's the backdrop in which we are facing the week ahead and the month ahead. But to take us through all that, we have Amisha and Dilip joining us. Well, gentleman and lady, thank you very much for joining us. Let me start with you. Dilip, what's your sense? Is 7,900 going to be a near-term roof, and we will have to wait for perhaps Brexit, perhaps the rains? Have we to wait for at least a couple of months before we break it?
Lata, surely it looks like that some of these events are bound to prove a little formidable, a little overwhelming in the short run. So possibly this, as what you mentioned, as also the fact that we are running into a Fed rate hike plus possibly a redemption of our coming FCNR. I think some of these events will put pressure on the economy, currency, interest rates, everything. But having said that, I think this market, even if it comes down for whatever reasons, I think that correction will still be viewed as an opportunity and should be taken as an opportunity to further acquire, because this market still remains a market to buy on the dips. And I'm sure that some of these events will prevent a runaway rise in the markets and possibly see some kind of either consolidation on the sideways or maybe some correction.
Okay, I will come back to you in terms of what you're expecting by way of earnings growth and an index growth itself. But Amisha, how protected is the downside? The market took the recent negative events very bravely. Not much was lost, probably 1%. Do you think 7,500 is sacrosanct, 7,700 is sacrosanct, or even is 6,800 possible?
No, I am in the camp. I feel that 7,500 will be in most likelihood respected. And in any case, in any eventuality, if it is broken, it will bounce back to those levels pretty quickly. And some of my confidence stems from the fact that despite the fact that in a third consecutive year, the Nifty earnings are hugely disappointing and maybe somewhere just close to 360, 370 rupees kind of Nifty earnings. But it comes at a cost of cleanliness, no risk, less uncertainty. And we have seen how some of the stocks, when they they give this kind of transparency and reliability.
Okay.
They trade at higher P. So that gives me a lot of confidence that even if we feel Nifty is at 17 times or whatever, it is on the most depressed earnings ever. So it gives me a lot of confidence. And I think one more thing to add is those state elections as such are not as critical as we keep saying. But this will definitely lead to passage of GST, which will once again lead to more action on the ground, which is what we keep hearing that it is little less. So a combination of monsoon, pay commission, GST can lead to sustainable improvement in activity on the ground.
Well, you spoke about earnings, so let me take you all on that first. In your universe of stocks, your PMS stocks which have done so well, what kind of an earnings growth are you looking for in FY17? What was your universe giving you in FY16, and what do you expect in FY17 for your universe?
Well, let me put it this way, that we have been following the index.
Okay.
And then we have a top picks.
Okay.
So these top picks are the ones which keeps on changing.
Okay, then let me look for the look at your Nifty earnings itself. What are you all forecasting for FY17?
So interestingly, as what I said, when we started off the year, all of us thought that we are going to have something like at least 18 to 20%. And I think as we know that the year ends with most of the results out, it's going to be 0% or maybe negative. So possibly next year too, from the current level, we feel that maybe we will see at least 18 to 20% growth in Nifty.
So which will
at least because the base is bad.
Correct. So from 430 earnings expected, we might wind down at 370, and one is looking back to the 430, 440 kind of number for Nifty EPS for FY17.
Okay. Well, this week itself, we saw the PSU banks taking quite a bit knock after Bank of Baroda's numbers. I see that you all have a lot of financials, but they're all private sector. Aren't HDFC banks and IndusInd banks and Kotak banks? I mean, Kotak Bank is, I think, over 5.5 times price to book, over 5 times price to book. Even at current levels, you will persist with these stocks, HDFC, IndusInd, Kotak?
I think important thing is that probably even next year, public sector banks will have to keep focusing a bit either on, how to really take care of these assets which they have declared NPA, but they really need to realize something out of it.
Okay.
And for them to really get something out of it, be it 50 paise, 60 paise, or 40 paise, there are certain policy level changes that we need. Banking Bureau will have to
I take your point that you don't want to get into public sector banks.
So
aren't your private sector banks expensive?
So for Kotak Bank, just to give you an example, as per my analyst, we are heading towards roughly 38 to 40% bottom line growth, and on that FY17 it is less than 4 times book.
Okay.
And for 2 years we are looking at ROE growth.
And just to add this point over here, I think in the coming 1.5 to 2 years, we'll continue to see the public sector banks ceding market shares further and further to some of these private sector banks who are very well capitalized and able to do business.
No, there is a contraction of their balance sheet. Of that, I take it. What about the non-bank finance? I see Capital First in your list. Will you add more NBFCs?
Well, I think this is one space which we think that we are still researching quite a few stocks, but I think certainly this space looks the one which can give very good returns. I think Capital First is one of the stocks that we like. We think that they are going to grow by something like 45-50% in the bottom line for next couple of years. Of course, their ROEs are bound to improve. They're just around 12.5%, but I think that also will go right up to around 15-16% in next 2 years' time. And they will require some capital, but I think they're doing all the right things to really capture the growth at the moment.
Okay, well, Amisha spoke about the GST being passed. I would want to know whether you want to play that theme, but we have to take a break at this juncture. So we're coming back with a lot more questions and stock suggestions from our team, but... Welcome back to this special edition of Taking Stock, which is coming to you all the way from the cafeteria of Prabhudas Leeladhar, the company which has given an excellent account of itself in terms of its PMS returns, 40 to 50% returns over the last 3 years, beating the index returns by a very handsome margin. Well, Amisha and Dilip, the head of Prabhudas Lilladher's asset management team, are with me. Dilip, before we went into the break, Amisha was talking about GST as a potential sentiment changer for sure, but is it also a stock pick related theme? Will that govern your theme when you pick stocks?
I think, Lata, that theme has really been played out, and time and again we have seen that even in the momentum stocks, we have seen this theme being played out. But still, I think some of the logistics stocks that we have been recommending is largely, also, one is because of GST, and also because we feel that economy will slip into an accelerated mode, and which is where we'll see a lot of action.
Okay, so all cargo logistics is one of the stocks you mentioned. Well, basically, you know, when I look at your stocks, there aren't so many index stocks in your long-term bets. You have the usual HDFCs and the IndusInd banks and the Kotak banks, but you're largely into mid-caps. Why, Amisha? You think that will be the outperforming segment in the year ahead?
So I think that, you know, when the macros are very stable, be it in terms of inflation, be it in terms of fiscal deficit, and I think more or less in terms of interest rates are also, we are done. So when those macros are as stable as we see and we are on a recovery path, I think index, because of some of the global headwinds, could still be little more volatile. But if one still wants to invest and get a very good handsome return, which market and economy can offer, mid-cap is the space to be. One has to be very stock specific.
Okay. I know it's stock specific, especially in a space like pharma, where you can get accidents all the time. You still prefer to invest in pharma stocks?
Yes, we still feel that select pharma stocks where there is a good amount of permissions in place, they will continue to post upwards of 30% kind of bottom line growth. Some of the stocks which probably we have not been able to take under our active coverage, but is a space we like a lot, is entirely this Thyrocare, Dr. Lal's pet, because we think that's diagnostic is a very, very largely growing segment of the market. Similarly, stock like Syngene, which is an offshoot of pharma, but very steady kind of return and free cash flow generating. I think, not free cash flow, but operationally good cash flow generating companies. I think even those could be on a CAGR basis, good selection.
Okay. Well, speaking of Syngene, speaking of Thyrocare and Dr. Labs, the other set of stocks that have hit the IPO market and done very well have been Equitas Ujjivan. Will that also interest you?
Lata, very much. I think in the days to come, we will see that how these microfinance companies will really go all out to capture more and more market share. And you know, they will be able to do business in a much better way than the traditional banks that they have been doing, because they have a rural touch out over there, and they have the bandwidth and the kind of the workforce. So I think, yes, some of these companies will really stand out. And in a way, we are interestingly seeing that a lot of HNIs and a lot of mid-cap funds are already shifting to some of these names at the moment, because the long term really appears to be good.
Okay. I want from both of you, given the earnings season at this point in time, your best picks. But before that, one more newsy question. SpiceJet numbers last week was not as exhilarating. You will still keep the faith?
Lata, very much. If we were to dissect that result, I think the actual profit is much more. There has been some amount of tax planning which has gone into this particular results, which will prevent the cash outflow. But interestingly, the company, if I understood from the banks, the loan has now come down to zero. What will happen to Maran's share, we don't know. But I think going forward, we still think that even oil at $50-55 can lead to a net profit of around 700 crores, which is still very good. And I think the stock still, and the sector also looks pretty good.
Well, now my rapid fire question, my coffee with current question. Amisha, given the earnings season so far, what is top of the mind, top 2 picks or 3 picks?
I think one stock which I like for investment a lot is TK Lakshmi Cement. They have expanded their capacity at a time when till last year interest appreciation went up, but the EBITDA per ton was under severe pressure because of prices. I think the turnaround will be equally strong, and that is one of my strong top picks.
The results have still not come, but Larsen & Toubro still looks very interesting because it has corrected very seriously from the top. And I think with the kind of order book, with the kind of order the government is releasing in this space, plus the defense, which is long overdue. I think L&T will be able to capture all such opportunities.
Okay. Well, I'll give you one more turn. Roads is the best sector. You know, we are doing these 2-year performance of the Modi government, and roads is the best performing sector. Anything in that space?
If one really wants to play directly through roads, then I think we like Sadbhav a lot.
All right, so that would be your top pick. That's a bunch of top picks from the Prabhudas Leeladhar team. Well, we will have to wind up the conversation. Thank you very much for hosting me in this lovely cafeteria, as well as for joining us on Taking Stock. But